Check for sound. Check for power.
All systems online.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the show. I got to tell you, man, we're going to recap everything that happened at Incarceration 2025, and I definitely have some stories. I mean, right from the very beginning on Friday, I end up going with one of my buddies, and we Ubered from Columbus, Ohio, up to Mansfield, which is about an hour drive. But we get on 71, and as soon as we get on 71, guys, like there's an accident. And so the bad thing about drivers in Ohio is if there's rain, if there's an accident, all of a sudden no one knows how to drive. And we end up in a full-on parking lot. It was like that REM video, Everybody Hurts. I mean, we're literally sitting in traffic, guys, for like over an hour and a half. I could just see the look on my Uber driver's face, because the funny thing is when he accepted the ride, he didn't realize that we were going an hour away. And now not only are we going an hour away, but we've now been in traffic for almost 2 hours. So we're sitting there, and so traffic finally releases. And before we get to the venue, I have to stop at a hotel just outside of Mansfield, Ohio, to pick up all of my passes. Like, you know, we had parking passes, backstage passes, all that kind of stuff. So I had to stop at this like weird Howard Johnson, which I don't even know when the last time I was at Howard Johnson, or if I didn't even realize there were any left. But good news, there's one in Mansfield, Ohio, if you ever find yourself there. So I go into this hotel, I get my passes, but right before we get out of the Uber, I told the Uber driver, I could just tell like he was just not feeling it. And from the hotel to the actual venue was going to be like another 25 minutes with traffic, right? So I opened my big mouth and I go, dude, if you want to bail now, I totally get it. We'll get another Uber and just, you know, somebody else can just ride us into the venue. And he goes, you know what? I'm going to take you up on that. He goes, I'll see you later. And as he pulls away, I have this thought in my mind. I'm like, if traffic is so messed up and everyone's having such a hard time getting in the venue, am I even going to be able to get another Uber? So my friend John fires up the Uber app and starts to look for another ride. And the next ride, guys, is over an hour and a half away. Yeah. A little bit of a theme here. So we noticed this dude pulled up in this old like Dodge van, right? With Michigan tags on it. So my buddy John, he's like never met a stranger. So he walks up to this guy immediately and just starts talking to him, right? He goes, hey, I'm a Michigan fan too. And they just get into this conversation. Turns out this guy was the father of one of the techs in Falling in Reverse. So we were able to bum a ride with this dude that we've never met before. I mean, it was like modern day hitchhiking. So we get in, we park right in front of Ronnie Radke's bus backstage at the venue. I mean, arrived in style. So from moment one, we were just completely stoked and we were loving it. I love walking into the venue with stories already to tell. And yeah, that one was a story of luck and bad luck all mixed together. Nonetheless, we were at Incarceration, and let me tell you something, man. I've been to the festival many times. Danny Wimmer Presents puts on, in my opinion, the best rock shows in the entire country. And this time, there was no exception. It was absolutely bigger than ever, and the attractions, like with the stages, they've moved things just a little bit around the venue, and I think it made for such a better viewing experience. Much like Sonic Temple, they had the two main stages that were alternating stages, meaning like when a band was on one stage, they were prepping the next stage for the next band. So like immediately, as soon as one band would end, the other band could start. And then they had another third stage that was kind of far off, a little ways away from the main viewing area, I guess is what you would call it. Let me tell you something. The bands, the people, the blood prison. I mean, all of it mixed together made for one hell of a weekend. And Friday, it really kicked off awesome for me. I mean, I walked in and was able to catch a couple of bands that I really like right away. Drowning Pool was there, and I hadn't seen those guys in years. I was trying to think if I even seen them since their original singer, David, passed away. But yeah, they sounded better than ever. Sleep Theory was another highlight on Friday for me. And I think the band that played early that just nailed it was Kill Switch Engage. Kill Switch Engage, that band is always on point. I'm telling you, man, just right from the very first song until their last note, those guys were all over it. And they played early, like in the 2:00 hour. So it was kind of a treat if you did get there early to Incarceration. You got to see somebody that just absolutely bang it out from the very beginning. The Devil Wears Prada on Friday was really great. I Prevail, always. The guys in I Prevail are always bringing it. They switched up their set list a little bit. I think they had anticipated that, there was probably a fair amount of people that were at Sonic Temple that would be at Incarceration, so you don't want to go and see the same set. And they made sure of that. They definitely changed things up a little bit. Parkway Drive was awesome on Friday. Knocked Loose. I can't believe how big Knocked Loose has gotten over the last couple of years. Those guys co-headlined the entire festival, and another band that you might have heard of if you're from Columbus, Ohio, that's Beartooth. Columbus's own Beartooth. And I've had the experience of watching this band grow from what you might call like a baby band into a full-on headliner. And that's exactly what they deserve. These guys brought it. I mean, Caleb and the guys are operating on full tens at this point, and these guys deserve all the props that they get. I think everybody was really anticipating Falling in Reverse on Friday, the headliner. It was one of their first big headlining spots at one of the Danny Wimmer shows, and everybody was buzzing in the crowd. There's been so much drama with Ronnie Radke, with the whole Tommy Lee and his wife thing, and, was he getting catfished, or what was happening online? Well, none of that outshined the actual show. And I got this really cool footage. If you guys go to my Instagram page, you can check it out. I got him and the band walking into the venue. Walking onto the stage from the back of the venue. And it's kind of cool because they show that out in the crowd too. And they're kind of talking to the crowd, sort of. It was almost like a WWE-esque thing, like where he was kind of saying, "We're coming out to rock your faces. You guys are done." And talking to the crowd, you hear the crowd reacting even before they're on stage. And just every moment, you could just see how Falling in Reverse have just become full-on headlining rock stars. And Ronnie Radke, I'm telling you, that dude, he's got that it factor. And it was pretty cool, man. He had some Hell's Angels that were watching side stage. I was right there backstage watching, and I look over and I'm like, is that the Hell's Angels? Hell yeah, it was. So Friday for me was one of the highlights of the whole weekend. I have to be honest. It was absolutely magical and kind of left you waiting and thirsting for Saturday. And when we got there on Saturday, you could already tell the weather had changed just a little bit. The rain was definitely going to happen on Saturday. You just didn't know when it was going to happen. So we kept looking at the forecast, and people were saying, well, I think it's going to sprinkle on and off throughout the afternoon, but I think we'll be good. Boy, people at the Weather Channel could not be more wrong. It rained all afternoon on Saturday. Thank God there was never any lightning or any major storm action happening where they would have to stop the show, but they definitely got wet out in the crowd. And the soil at Incarceration quickly turned into mud, and people were slinging the mud. People were rolling around in the mud. I saw girls mud wrestling during Dayseeker. I mean, that was a real treat mid-afternoon. But, I mean, some of the bands that just put on an incredible show on Saturday, the Union Underground, they were there. I don't know if you guys are familiar with them or not, but, I mean, they had an incredible set that day. The Dillinger Escape Plan. Now, it's been a couple of years since I've seen them, and they brought it, man. Old school acts like Acid Bath. Loved them at Sonic Temple, so I could not wait to see them at Ink, and they didn't disappoint. And, of course, we started to get to the part of the night where our headliners were taking the stage, and I was backstage in the artist lounge, and I turned around and I was like, oh shit, is that Alex Terrible from Slaughter to Prevail? And it was, and I got a chance to catch up with him. We talked not only music, but we talked mixed martial arts, bare knuckle boxing, which he has been involved in, and just had his second fight where, I mean, I told him I thought he fought an incredible fight. He just barely lost, a very close decision. Outside of music, I think he may have a second career in fighting, and he seems to love it. It's this Russian organization where they fight instead of a ring, it's like hay barrels. And they fight inside of that, which makes it even more primitive and badass. And he could not have been a nicer guy. They took the stage, and that's when the moment of the weekend for me happened. Their entire plot that day, Slaughter to Prevail, was to have the largest American wall of death ever. That's where Alex Terrible parts the sea, if you will, meaning the crowd, and you get this like sort of like corridor going down between both sides of the crowd now, and they hit it, and as soon as the music drops, everybody comes running at the opposite side, and they just collide into just a sea of humans. And man, I'm going to show some video right now. It was fucking incredible. I've never seen anything like that. Seen the wall of death a million times in front of me. Nothing like what we saw at Incarceration. Slaughter to Prevail set out to have the largest American wall of death ever, and they accomplished that for sure. Up next after Slaughter was Marilyn Manson, and Manson, I gotta say, he is operating on top of the world at this point. He recently got sober. You could tell he lost a bunch of weight. He looks good, and he sounded incredible. I've seen Marilyn Manson where he does not, and yeah, this was the second time I've seen him since, he came back from almost getting canceled, and I'm sure everybody knows that story, so we won't get into that, but yeah, I saw him down in Nashville at my place, last fall in September, and he was with Five Finger Death Punch and Slaughter to Prevail, and that's when I saw him, and I was like, oh shit, Marilyn Manson's back. And on stage at Incarceration, he was definitely back. The crowd was loving it. I mean, the band sounded tighter than ever. I think he might have the best band that he's ever put together in his entire touring career, in my opinion. Slipknot headlined on Saturday night, and everyone was watching with anticipation because Slipknot has had some interesting stuff going on. On their website, they had this very vague countdown happening. And it was going on for days, and people were like, what is the meaning of this? There was some rumors that, possibly it was going to lead to an announcement of a new Slipknot member. The maggots were discussing if Slipknot was going to drop a new record. And what we found out was Slipknot is going to drop a brand new box set, and they did. So at the end of the countdown, nothing happened, and everybody was like, what? And then all of a sudden, this box set goes on sale. And it's a box set for their 25th anniversary. It's got 6 colored LPs in it, which is a total of like an incredible 59 tracks in the side of this box set. It contained, of course, the first self-titled Slipknot record and the highly coveted Indigo Ranch, which was a bunch of songs that they recorded for the original Slipknot record that never made it, but also have never seen the light of day. So this was a really cool drop on the part of Slipknot. Interestingly enough, there were only a limited amount of copies or box sets because they went so fast. And then earlier this morning, they actually dropped more. So if you were lucky enough to get on the website, you got to see that. And Saturday night was their only North American performance, period. They will be overseas for the rest of the year, but this was the only appearance they were making in America this year, and Slipknot brought it for all the Americans that were in attendance. We definitely had a good time. The stage setup was sick. I mean, the sound was sick, and they just put on a show that closed out Saturday night. Everyone was soaked. Everyone was tired, but you couldn't tell. Because everyone was up, everybody was dancing, everybody was having a killer time, and Slipknot polished off Saturday night in style. So if I'm being honest, I had to rally for Sunday, guys. These multiple day festivals do catch up with you over the course of the weekend, and I was like, maybe I'll just stay home. And then I lay there, and I'm like, you get up. Get your ass up right now. It's time to see more rock. And I did. I got up and headed up to Mansfield, and I'm so glad that I did because Sunday was awesome, man. Nothing More is one of my favorite bands, and those guys, actually, I would see Johnny all the time in Nashville, the lead singer. He lives down there, actually right around the corner from where I live, and that guy just keeps evolving as a lead singer. I mean, he's in incredible shape, Shred City, and up there in front of the Incarceration crowd, and everybody was loving it, man. And they always have something cool, something new to bring to the set. And this time was no exception. They brought some new music that they haven't played anywhere else, which I think was a real treat for all of the Incarceration fans out there, all the prisoners. Everybody was just having a great time. You could tell. We came as Romans. Those guys, actually, I hadn't seen them in a while, and I loved their set. Lamb of God. I mean, God damn, Randy Blythe. Every time I see Lamb of God, the only thing you can think about is, what that guy has been through. And they are just such an incredible mix of old school and new school all wrapped up into one. In This Moment was a big highlight for a lot of folks out there. Maria Brink. I think the only knock on In This Moment that I heard from the crowd, and I don't know, you guys can tell me in the comment section below what you think about this, is that Maria Brink has been stationary during the show in the last couple of years. Like, meaning she has this, it's almost like a perch that she sits up above the rest of the band, and she stands there, right, in this arc kind of thing, and it looks like almost like she's like a politician or a preacher or something like that, and she's up there just leading the band basically, right? But she doesn't really move from that spot. I mean, she's dancing up there, she's singing. She was wearing a mask for the majority of the show, if not the entire show. And just a lot of people thought they wanted to see sort of the old In This Moment performance where she's all over the stage and out there just bringing it a little bit closer to the crowd. And for me, I kind of like the way that they're doing it now. It didn't really occur to me that the other way might be better until somebody else brought it up. But I think in my mind, I think they're doing fine. And In This Moment was sick. 3 Days Grace. It's so funny. You forget how many hits a band like 3 Days Grace has. And these guys just brought it. I mean, up on stage, killing it. Almost every song you've heard on the radio a million times. Just huge hits from 3 Days Grace. And the headliner on Sunday night was the one and only Five Finger Death Punch. And I got a chance to catch up with Zoltan right before the show started and just say hi to those guys. Super incredible dudes, man. And I'm telling you, if you get a chance to see Five Finger Death Punch on this tour, you got to take advantage. As I mentioned before, I saw them down in Nashville with Marilyn Manson, and they were awesome there. It's just so much different in a festival setting. And plus, on Sunday night, once again, much like Saturday, it was raining, and people were wet. People were tired from the weekend, but Five Finger Death Punch brought everybody together. Everybody was super stoked. And I think overall, A+ on the weekend. I'll tell you what was a huge, cool addition that they've just done in the last couple of years was opening the blood prison during Incarceration. Now, up to like 2 years ago, what they would do is just basically give you a tour of the Ohio Reformatory if you wanted to go through during the concert and just check it out, because it is really cool. There's a lot of stuff to see in there. It's a prison of yesteryear. Basically, this prison was built around the city or town rather of Mansfield, Ohio. And at one point, pretty much everybody that lives in Mansfield worked at the prison, and everybody that worked at the prison, all of their kids went to school at the prison. So basically you would live there and work there. And then if you were incarcerated, well, that's where you were in jail. But it was just such a unique atmosphere and unique building. The architecture is just something to really behold. Still to this day, you look at that building and you're like, man, that is absolutely beautiful. And they've left all of the Shawshank Redemption moments, a couple of scenes from the movie where you can take the tour and walk through and they're like, well, this is where this happened. And you're like, oh, that's so sick. Yeah. So it's kind of fun to see some of those movie moments in real life. So with Incarceration behind us, something else that happened over the weekend was the UFC was on pay-per-view, and Dustin Poirier fought his final UFC fight against Max Holloway for the BMF, the bad motherfucker title, and lost a very close decision. This was their third bout. Dustin had picked up wins in the first two matches, but man, both guys looked incredible, fought to the very end, super close decision, and overall, like, I couldn't even believe that I made it to my friends in time to actually catch the fights. I thought for sure I wasn't going to get to watch the main event, but yeah, I was able to, and it just did not disappoint. After seeing Slipknot and being able to watch the fights that night, I was like, dude, it felt like my birthday or something. It was absolutely amazing, minus the rain. That was the only downfall of Saturday. So a couple other music notes. Jane's Addiction, everybody in the band is suing each other. Back in the fall, they had that huge onstage fight with Perry Farrell and Dave Navarro. So Dave Navarro has now launched a lawsuit against Perry Farrell and other members of Jane's Addiction too. Eric Avery and Stephen Perkins, they're both in and named on the lawsuit against Perry Farrell. They're basically saying you ruined the band. Like, we're not even able to tour anymore. You destroyed the tour that we already had. He's like, if we go back out on tour, who's going to trust to buy tickets from a band that seems so volatile? And I mean, he could be right with that, right? The band president that we've talked about quite a bit on this show is taking the spotlight once again. These guys have kind of been in the heavy music scene, sort of the stars of 2025, and captured the imaginations of everyone, not just with the masks and everyone trying to figure out who the band is, and everybody knows, but nobody really knows. Well, they are finally going to release their first ever EP. It's going to have 6 songs and will be entitled The King of Terrors. Now, their first single for that record is out called Rage, and it's interesting. So the video for this also dropped, and the video's really weird. Rage is more like of a pop electronic sound, more than like a heavy sound, but it basically shows the lead singer, who is the president, right? He's standing up, watching down. He's standing like upstairs and watching over this dance floor as these two people have like this insane dance off during the song. It's a super weird video, but pretty cool. And if you haven't seen it, I'll put it in the description below, and you guys can link to that and check it out and leave in the description or in the comments, rather. Tell me what you thought about it. I'd love to know. So that's going to do it for this recap of Incarceration, guys. Back with a brand new show next week. If you have not yet, please subscribe to the channel. And if there's something that you want to hear me talk about, just leave it in the comments, and I would love to do it for you guys. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll check you next week.